we won the World Series October 28th, 2018. We go home. On Halloween is the parade, October 31st. We got the parade, boom, boom, boom. On my way home, put WEI. They're talking about free agency already. And the Red Sox, what are they going to do if they lose Craig Kimbrell? This is at 4 o'clock, the day of the parade.
John, you did a great job. You stayed on it. We had a guest way in advance. We never, always scrambling. You got Alex Cora, the manager of the Red Sox, for us with a week to spare.
Yes, we were thrilled with that, and Alex is the best, a friend of the show, a favorite of the show, and he didn't have the week that you expect for the Red Sox. I picked them to win that division. I think they're very talented, and I do think they have a great manager, and they lost 2 out of 3 of the White Sox, then they lost 16-1. He's all in, ready to come on. This is why we love Alex Cora, who is one of the best managers in the game, and also one of the best guests for us.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of those early stumbles. We're going to talk about his excellent group of young players who are here and still coming. We'll ask what's going on with Rafael Devers. You and I will break down what Juan Soto said, why he said it, should he have said it. We'll talk about the Yankee lineup. We'll play hit and error at the end. If you stick with us on the show with Joel, Sherman, and Jon Heyman. John, look. We have a little news because Mike Puma is an excellent beat writer for the New York Post for our institution. And he talked to Juan Soto. And why don't I, in case somebody's listening to our podcast and they haven't heard it, I'm going to go ahead and just read the quote and then let you go and riff a little bit. I know you were called last night. You ended up writing a column on this. So let me just read it. He told Mike Puma. Soto is not off to a great start. Last night, he had his first hit with runners in scoring position, a home run. He said, it's definitely different. I had the best hitter in baseball hitting behind me, obviously meaning Aaron Judge. I was getting more attacked and more pitches in the strike zone, less intentional walks and things like that. I was pitched differently last year. And so I don't know that this is a great look 3 weeks into the season after you didn't take $760 million from the Yankees and took $765 from the Mets. You wrote about it, John. You have first say off of what Mike Puma reported from Soto last night.
Yeah, I mean, I think Soto is a fine young man, and it's great that he's cooperative and candid. And I do think there is some validity to this. I mean, obviously Alonso's doing fantastic, as is Judge, but realistically, there's only one Aaron Judge. There's probably only 2 guys in baseball who could really provide true protection for somebody as great as Juan Soto. Otherwise, the pitchers are going to pitch around. No matter how good Pete Alonso is, no matter how hot he is, the pitchers have been pitching around Juan Soto. So I do see the validity to it, as I wrote. Of course, everybody latches on to the negative part about it, and I personally just don't think this is the time to do it. He isn't doing that bad that he needs any excuse or any explanation for what he's doing. And even if he was, it's just not the time. Where he was 15 games into a 15-year commitment. Let it play out. He is a terrific talent. He's going to be incredible. He's luckier than most. By most, I mean 98% of the guys to have Alonso behind him. Judge doesn't have anybody like that behind him, and it's certainly an advantage to having Judge behind you. Look at the Yankee leadoff hitters with Judge batting second, right? Rice and Goldschmidt are benefiting, and Soto benefited last year to some degree. I still think, my opinion of Soto has not changed. I think he's a great kid. I think he's an amazing player. I certainly understand why the Mets did this. I'm sure it was a very tough decision for him, but I think to bring it up now, it was a mistake. Now, I'm with you. Give Mike Puma credit for talking to him, and I see people saying, it was a leading question. He tricked him, baited him, whatever. He asked him the question. It wasn't a trick. He obviously gave a full explanation. His English is excellent. What he said makes perfect sense. I just don't think he should have said it.
Yeah, we know Mike Puma pretty well. There was no leak.
No.
Mike is not a duplicitous kind of guy. He asked probably why do you think you're struggling early this season or not performing up to the level of last year? And the answer was the answer. And I'm always vexed by this, John, because on one hand, we deal with so many media trained vanilla answers. Like I hate when we say
Right.
of people who are honest. He was being honest. On the other hand, we do have to say what we think. And I agree with you after 15 games of the season. And look, I would point out this. You know what hit 216 last year with a 645 OPS, which, by the way, was 29th in this category? The guys who hit fourth in the Yankee lineup who protected Aaron Judge. They were 29th in OPS. Aaron Judge won the MVP with no protection last year. Now, I know you could say the protection was in front of him. Soto was on base. That creates the need to maybe pitch to him. There was no reason to pitch to Judge. Their cleanup hitters sucked. And so he capitalized on this situation. I would point out again for the earliness of the year, and I do think Soto is seeing a higher percentage of pitches out of the strike zone. But you know who else is? Lindor it's up 4.4% out of the zone. Soto's 3.3%. Exactly 3.3% is also Alonso. They're all among the leaders. Is it possible they're playing in cold weather and guys are having trouble controlling the ball and they're just not seeing as many strikes early in the season? And the blessing for him is Alonso has gotten off great. He's punishing the opponent for not dealing with Soto. And so, I think you put it well, which is everyone who doesn't have Ohtani or Judge behind them would pick Alonso now to maybe hit behind him. He'd certainly be on the short list the way he's broken out so far this season. I just feel this was poorly timed to kind of pine for your old team that did do everything kind of conceivable to keep you when your new team did everything conceivable plus 5 million to get you. And I just think, again, I want honesty, but this felt like poorly timed, poorly phrased honesty.
Yeah, and you're right about we appreciate when the guys aren't just giving cliches and vanilla answers, which is what we generally get. And he was being candid, and as I said, I do believe there is some validity. I mean, new school is that the protection isn't that important, but certainly if you have a Judge, it's a big help. A Judge or an Ohtani. But if it's that big a help to have a protection, why is Ohtani batting leadoff, right? He's a leadoff hitter. Who's he protecting as the leadoff hitter? So I think there's less emphasis on who's protecting whom at this point. Judge is so good, he doesn't need protection. But I feel like Soto should be that good. He's been on several teams. For a guy this good, he's already been on 4 teams, right? And he's had very good players batting behind him at different times. You've had Harper, you've had Machado, but it's not always them, right? But I don't think he should have said it. I think that's the bottom line. And I was there, not at the game. I was at the Yankee game, but I felt this was the interesting story. That's not clickbait. It's the interesting story, and it's proven out. I mean, I know I should look at Twitter, but it gets 100 plus retweets, whereas my Yankee column, which I wrote, got 0 retweets, 0. So, if someone thinks so, I'm just doing it for clickbait. I'm trying to write something interesting. Anyway, enough about me. I think Soto's a great kid, as I wrote in there. I think he's candid. People didn't see that because we're behind a paywall now. They only see the tweet. But, I was just a little bit critical because the timing was not good. And that's basically it.
Yeah. Don't apologize for doing your job well, John. You did your job well. Look, Francisco Lindor is being protected by Juan Soto. He's gotten off poorly. He finished second for the MVP last year. Soto was what, third? It's early in the season. Do we have any doubt that Juan Soto
No.
will have 3,500 homers and a 900 OPS probably, as kind of a baseline? I just think, again, this felt mistimed. Why don't we flip it to this? You were at the Yankee game last night. I'm here at the network. I'm on my way to Yankee Stadium after we do this for the second game against the Royals. The Yankee offense is dealing with no Soto. The Yankee offense is dealing with no Stanton, who's a threat in the middle of the lineup, especially against lefty pitching as a righty bat. Yet they're kind of generally they've gone through a little up and down, lots of stuff about torpedo bats when it probably was Brewer pitching more than anything else in that first series that has elevated the Yankees. They hit 3 homers in an inning and 4 in total to beat the Royals last night. What do you say about where the Yankee offense is right now?
I think the offense is great. I mean, I think we are hypercritical at times. I hear people talking about inconsistent, a good day, bad day. Certainly, you're not going to be great every day. They're playing, it's been unbearably cold. I went last night and it was fine, but every other game has been very, very cold. It's pretty amazing that they had, at least going into last night, and it probably didn't change, 141 OPS plus, 13 points higher than anybody else. And that 141 OPS plus, that's the same figure as the career totals of Chipper Jones, Larry Walker, and David Ortiz. That's for a team, 1 through 9, not just Judge. And I mean, Rice, he looked great in the spring training. He's carried over. Spring training doesn't always mean anything. The one guy who is a star, who isn't off to a good start, is Bellinger. He was the best in spring training. But, they're obviously without Soto, who's one of the best 3 hitters in the game, I believe. They're without Stanton. And right now, their offense has been as good or better than anyone in the game. And it's certainly, well, Judge is the best. He's the best position player in the game and the best hitter in the game, I think. It's not all about him. Grisham's been great. Rice has been great. Jazz Chisholm with power. Volpe with a little more power. It's been really, really something to see. And it's why they're in first place. We talk about all the pitching that they're missing, and it's in flux. It's not very good, whatever. The rotation is not what it should be, but they've out-hit the pitching mistakes to this point.
And look, they're going to have to do that. Their rotation is, should get some help tomorrow with Clark Schmidt coming back.
Yes.
As long as he can stay healthy and this group can stay healthy, they'll probably be able to muck it through until July, June when they get Luis Heel back, July when they trade for, pick your guy who they're going to trade for or two. In July, I thought like somewhat encouraging if I were looking at the Yankee offense. They didn't win on Sunday, and ultimately kind of Logan Webb got his act together. But their at-bats for the first 3 innings against Webb on Sunday were spectacular against a great pitcher, and they hit 4 home runs yesterday off of one of the better pitchers in the sport in Seth Lugo. So I know that's partially a Yankee Stadium thing maybe, but look, they've become overly left-handed. But if you're going to be one thing or the other at Yankee Stadium, it's better to be overly left-handed. And let's give them credit. After a long, long period where they didn't develop lefty hitting, you mentioned Ben Rice, Austin Wells, Jason Dominguez is a switch hitter they're getting something from. Their pick was Trey Sweeney, who's starting at shortstop for the Tigers. Like, they finally got back in the business of being the Yankees. You need to develop lefty hitting. Maybe Spencer Jones will join that at some point also. But it's, in your ballpark, like we're seeing it. Jazz Chisholm's hitting 175, but he's got 6 homers in that ballpark. You've got to have lefty power at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, Rice, you mentioned a lot of guys, but I want to talk about Rice. He looks like a potential star. I know he hit 170 or something like that last year after getting off to a hot start, having that 3 home run game. He looks like a different guy, a very confident guy. They talk about the muscle that he put on. Give them credit. This is a 9th-round pick out of Dartmouth who he missed 2 Ivy League seasons because they were very careful with COVID. And he helped put together a league with his friends from Harvard, as if he's not smart enough. He had to find people even smarter, maybe. I don't know. And they had a league with Ivy Leaguers, and he kept going. This is a determined guy who's obviously a very bright guy. And it's a great story. 9th-rounder out of Dartmouth. It's weird that the Yankees have all the Dartmouth guys, right? Osmus, Red Rolfe went to Dartmouth. Jim Beattie went to Dartmouth. They're basically the only players from Dartmouth. I don't know if they have we'll call that a pipeline that began with Red Rolfe, but it's a great story. And he's needed. He's got wearing 22. He's wearing Soto's old number. He doesn't mind that. And, not trying to be Soto, and he's replacing basically Stanton, former MVP. So I give him all the credit in the world, and it's a great story.
Yeah, I didn't have Red Rolfe on my bingo card today, John. So
I'm old. I remember Red well.
And you mentioned, I think I think even in his struggles last year, when he struggled, Ben Rice had good at bats. He swung at strikes. He has a great feel for the strike zone. So you always feel like that will help a player, and adding the muscle. And man, he is a super confident kid. That kid thinks he's also a starting major league catcher. We'll see that over time if that plays out or not. On the subject of super confident or talented kids, John, the Boston Red Sox have a bunch of them. Their manager, Alex Cora, is going to join us next to talk about that and more if you stick with us on the show with Joel Sherman and Jon Heyman. John and I are so pleased to be joined by the manager of the Boston Red Sox, Alex Cora. Alex, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for the invitation.
Alex, look, it's interesting. Last night, as we're talking to you, your team suffered a bad loss, right? You lost 16-1 to Tampa. You're 8-10. You were more critical than most managers would be in this day. We get a lot of vanilla in this day, even when things are terrible. It's 18 games in the season. Nobody in the AL East seems like they're getting away from anyone. Why last night, and what were you seeing, and why last night were you a little more like, from top to bottom, I don't like what I'm seeing here?
I didn't like what I saw on Friday in Chicago. Then that happened again yesterday. And you have to take a look in the mirror. You know, we all understand it's early in the season. You know, that part is obvious. But you know, you got to be consistent in certain things, you know, and I truly believe in this league, if you pitch and play good defense consistently, you're going to have a shot, right? And we will be better defensively. We know that. Pitching wise, we will be better. But I don't want to say that, you know, urgency is not in our DNA, but, you know, we got to play with a little bit of urgency. You know, it's a big game. I think the first games of series set the tempo for the rest of them. You win that first game, you got a shot to win it, right? And you know, that's a pretty good team, by the way. They're very athletic, they can pitch. But I just felt like yesterday, from pitch one, we were prepared. Don't get me wrong, and we did everything possible to beat them. But it didn't feel that way for 3 hours.
Give me some reassurance. I picked you guys to win that division, partly because of you. You're one of the best managers in the game. I think
Thank
we
you.
all know that at this point. What do you think? Obviously, it's a slow start, but we've only played you know, small percentage of the season. Why is this team going to be a good team and potentially win that division?
I truly believe that the two pillars I just told you, we're going to be better. We're going to be better defensively. We're going to pitch better. Obviously, right now, we're you know, Bello is about to join us next week. Lucas Giolito is going to join us probably right after that. The bullpen is pretty good. I think Chapman looks amazing. Probably the best I've seen him. He made a conscious effort losing weight. So this guy who's a freak of nature, right? He's in the best shape of his life, throwing a lot of strikes. Offensively, we got certain guys right now and guys throughout the season that they're going to find it, right? They will. But we're still young in certain areas. People talk about Tristan Casas like he's been a force for 10 years in the big leagues. He hasn't played a full season in the big leagues, and he's still learning. He's young. Campbell, he's playing the part, but he's going to have his up and downs. Rafaela, the same way. We got to play the process, to be honest with you. I had an interview with Will Fleming a few days ago, and I told him, you know, every season is different. Last year, we managed the game very aggressively from the get-go. We were pinching in the fifth inning because that was the personnel we had. I think from top to bottom, there's a better roster than that last year, so you have to be patient. What I said is what I said. I got a reason to say it, right? That, you know, you control the narrative and you send messages in different ways, and the guys know that. But I think as a whole, we have a pretty good team. We just got to be consistent in those two pillars.
You know, John mentioned, you know, he picked you to finish first. I think you were a darling pick in a lot of places. There was an expectation of graduation for your team, that it was going to get better. Plus, of course, you know, you added Bregman and Crochet, notably in the offseason. Do you feel something different this year? Look, you're a championship manager, so you know what the biggest burdens feel like. But does it feel different in and around your team that there is expectations? And do you think there's a weight at all to that?
I don't know about the weight added to this, but it feels different. You add, an ace to the rotation. He's done it twice. Losing streak, he comes in and he dominates on Crochet. The guy pitching today, his pedigree is real, right? Walker Buehler, or all he knows is pitch in October. Alex, we all know about him. Trevor coming back and playing the part, like he seems like he's very comfortable where he's at. Um, but also, there's a lot of guys here that all they know is finishing last back-to-back years and playing 500 baseball. So, like you said, we have to graduate, right? Like this is the time, and I'm not saying it's going to take a long time. I'm just saying that there's a process in place. There's going to be up and downs, and when we hit stride, we're going to be okay.
You're young. You've got a lot of young players, and you're going to be dependent on a lot of young ones. Campbell is a guy who's very, very interesting. I was a fourth rounder, but what a talent. I mean, so much athletic ability. Tell me what your thoughts are, what you think his ceiling might be.
Ooh, I don't know about the ceiling, but I know he's going to hit the ball hard, and he's going to make good swing decisions. Very similar to George Springer early on, that he can put the brakes late. He's going, and he stops. And it's a slider off the plate, right? He can do that. He's a ball hard to the other side of the field on fastballs. He demolishes off-speed pitches to the pull side. He did it yesterday against one of the best pitchers in the big leagues, right? And the one thing we have to make sure, and we've been playing this game, right? He's playing a lot of second base, but once a week he's playing center field, just to make him feel comfortable defensively. The speed of the game is different here. Decision-making defensively is different here than in the minor leagues. As you guys know, guys are faster. They're more savvy. They'll take advantage of mistakes. So we have to teach him on the job. And that's why we're here for, just to put him in situations to be successful, slow the game down, and just let him be the athlete that he is. Because if he can do that on a nightly basis, it's going to be fun to watch, and so far it's been fun.
Alex, why don't I stick with the theme? One of the things that came up an awful lot during spring training was your young group of hitters that are coming. One is here in Campbell, the other, Marcelo Mayer, and Roman Anthony, who is generally looked at as maybe the best, at least position prospect in baseball, if not that. Can you give us some idea of, do you expect to see all of them playing for the 2025 Red Sox, and some version of a scouting report of what you are anticipating for this trio of Red Sox youngsters?
I'll give you the scouting report. I won't give you a timeline, if that's fair. So Marcelo, obviously, we got to keep him on the field. And this is the first time, the first time I've been around him for a long period of time. Good hitter who is learning how to control the zone. Great base runner, great instincts, great jumps at first base, and makes great decisions. Excellent defender at second, at short, and at third. The joke towards the end of spring, they'll hit a ground ball to him, and I would scream from the dugout, "Don't panic," because he made it look so easy. The pulse is slow, the internal clock is real, and he enjoys playing defense. He will tell you that that's his favorite part of the game, which is awesome. Campbell, we talk about him, right? Just a freak athlete, very twitchy. We've seen what he can do at this level. He will struggle at times, but because he controls the strike zone, he will survive those stretches. Roman, he is 20. He acts like he's 30. The conversations are unreal with this kid. I never seen a group of veterans gravitating towards young players in spring training. Usually it's the other way around, right? The young players gravitate to the veterans. In this case, in spring training, our guys gravitated to those three. Roman dominates the strike zone, hits the ball hard. The most impressive thing about him in spring training, he had games of, he went 0 for 1 with 3 walks. As a young player, when you go to camp, what do you try to do? impress everybody, right? Just hit the ball hard, hit the ball out of the ballpark. And he didn't do that. He impressed us the other way around, just showing us that he can control the strike zone. He doesn't need to swing the bat to impact the game. The progress defensively from day one all the way to the last game in Mexico in spring training was amazing. He's very diligent in his work and excited about the future, man. The three of them, they're going to impact this team, I believe, sooner rather than later. Campbell is doing it already. I think the other two, at one point, they might impact this team. But the future is bright. The future is bright, and I'm very happy that I'm going to be around for them.
Great assessments. I would have liked a timeline on Roman Anthony since I have him for Rookie of the Year, but I understand why you can't say that at this moment. Let's change it over to Bregman. I was with your team a couple days in spring training. Seems like a cliche, perfect fit for this team with all the young guys. You knew him best of anybody from the Houston days. Why is he the right guy for this team? And the Giants extend. I know this isn't really your niche. This is more GM. The Giants extended Matt Chapman after a year with him. Shouldn't Bregman? He seemed so happy there. Shouldn't he just stay with you? You're his friend.
You should have the timeline. That would have been an easier answer, by the way.
But I have to give you the play-by-play of the three guys, right? That's what people want. With Alex, a more mature kid than the one I saw in 2017. In 2017, he was cocky in a good way, arrogant in a good way. He's still cocky and arrogant, but as an adult, I had in 17, I was with Puerto Rico during spring training. I was with the WBC, so I didn't spend too much time with him during camp. But this year, every repetition means something for him. And as you guys know, every comment, every situation that is out there about him, he uses it as to his advantage. He has this uncanny ability to slow things down in the clubhouse, in the meetings, at dinners, and the way he does it is talking about baseball. That's all he cares. That's all he talks. He loves his family. He loves the game. He loves playing October. He loves the environment at Fenway. We know about his swing at Fenway Park, but like I said in the press conference, this kid can hit anywhere, and with him, less is more offensively. He doesn't chase. He doesn't swing much. He hits the ball hard. He's a good base runner and a great defender. He slows things down, and that's something that we needed, especially with this group. We're not going to get older. We're going to get younger, as you guys know. And having players like him, having players like Buehler that have experience playing in October is going to help the group.
The addition of Bregman obviously created somewhat of a stir, right? Because of the Rafael Devers situation. I wonder two things. Can you look back in retrospect? Was this handled well? Like the lead up to how Devers found out about this, and do you think it's impacting him at all? Because he started poorly, had about a 5 or 6 game streak where he hit great, and now he's kind of seems like he's struggling again. The strikeouts are what surprised me with him, because obviously I've seen him, especially against Cole, like he never makes out, right? And the overall numbers don't look good. What do you think about the Devers situation, kind of a little bit from soup to nuts where we are right now?
Well, the offensive part of it, yeah, the strikeouts are up there. The chase is down, the chase percentage. So that's good. Mechanically, on and off, this doesn't have to do with playing third base or being the DH. This is something that he's been battling throughout camp, has battled during the first 20 games, 19 games. And like I've been telling people, he'll find it. He'll figure out his moves are different than others. His setup is different than others. His swing is really good. And when he finds it, it's going to be good. The exciting part of it, like I said, the chase percentage is way down, which is awesome. The way we handle the situation, I don't know. People have their opinions. I was in camp early for a reason. I got there on February 5th, Rafi was in Fort Myers the first week of January. Things happen fast. People don't understand that. It really happened fast. I think you have to be very careful with the messaging because, yeah, it can go one way, but it can go the other one. And I think we did what we needed to do to improve the team, and we communicate with the people that we have to communicate the right way. And I think time at the end was our ally. It helped us because at the end of the day, what we want to do is win in this city. Rafi was very vocal about it last year, and he understands where we at as an organization, and he's doing everything possible to help us win games.
Let me ask you about Boston. We in New York even look at Boston as a tough town. I think you've got some critical columnists still there. If I write something critical, people are like, "Oh my God, how can you say that?" Boston, it's like all the time. And I mean, everybody there is a sports fan. New York, you've got people who don't even know, heard of the Yankees or the Mets. In Boston, everybody's on it. You've seen the same being there. You've been there a long time. You have never changed. Am I right? And how do you handle this?
I'll give you a story, and this is Boston in an hour or 30 minutes, whatever you want to call it. So we won the World Series October 28th, 2018. We go home. On Halloween is the parade, October 31st. We got the parade, boom, boom, boom. On my way home, put WEI. They're talking about free agency already, and the Red Sox, what are they going to do if they lose Craig Kimbrell? This is at 4:00, the day of the parade. And I turn around to Angelica, my partner. I was like, this is unreal, And to be honest with you, and you guys know me, I try to be as consistent as possible. I try not to ride the wave, especially with the media, because I know how it is. I think Aaron and myself, have an advantage, with other managers because we lived it, right? We had the producer in our ear telling us, go, 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 keep going. So we understand how it works. But it's a special place. It's a special town. It feels like everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everything about the Red Sox, the Patriots, the Celtics. And it's just fun, We just have to make it what it used to be, because I truly believe Fenway is a special place, but it's a special place in October. In October, the opposition, they feel it, and where we're playing good baseball, they feel it. And the last few years, it hasn't been that way.
If Fenway's a special place, what's Steinbrenner Field these days?
That's a good question.
You know what?
I wonder what you think about playing there now.
It was horrible yesterday, I tell you that. Actually, when I left yesterday, I was getting on the bus. I looked to the right and I saw Steinbrenner Field. I'm like, man, we got the Rays and the Yankees in the same night, But one thing for sure, the fans are having a blast. It's a smaller crowd or whatever you want to call it, but they're close to the action, and they had a good time yesterday. I was watching other games, and it's good attendance, and the facility is a facility. It's not bad. We played at Buffalo. We played at Dunedin a few years ago. So playing here is nothing different.
Good question, Joel. I had that on my list as well. It's a beautiful minor league park, but I think we're going to see a lot of home runs there. It's early. I know we thought that magic bat the Yankees had was going to revolutionize the game. Hasn't done it yet, so you never know. But a lot of home runs to this point. I want to ask you about Crochet. I mean, terrific talent. He just got there and decided to stay for a long time. Maybe it was for you, or maybe it was for the money. I don't know, but maybe he likes Boston. What do you think so far about Crochet's talent going forward?
Yeah, you see these guys from the other side, and you have an idea of who they are, or you think you have an idea of who they are. He gets here, he goes to winter weekend. We talk a little bit. he embraces the whole thing. Like it seems like he was having fun in spring training. Just the Aces, they act differently. You guys know it. Like, yeah, every 5 days they're the horses on the mound, but what they do in the clubhouse, communication wise, preparation wise, talking to the strength and conditioning coaches and the trainers. This is what I do. What you got for me? Looking for ways to get better. The communication with the pitching department on point. I did this in Chicago. What you have for us? What you have for me now? How can I improve? And the great ones, they do that. Like he pitches Sunday against the White Sox. He was already looking at the outing yesterday to get ready for the White Sox again, because there were certain things that he feels he needed to do better. And that's what they do. And it's been a joy to have. Obviously, every 5 days, you got that guy that can go deeper into the game. He sets up the week for you because you don't have to go to the bullpen, and you can maneuver the bullpen the next few days. And, the sky's the limit with this guy. He's enjoying the whole Boston experience, and just happy that he's here with us.
Alex, as a way of wrapping up, you mentioned earlier that you thought Tampa Bay had good pitching and athleticism. And look, when you look at this division, I think you could maybe make a case for everybody.
From top to bottom. Top to bottom. We played Toronto already. Their starters are really good. Their offense, if Bo and George keep swinging the bat the way they're swinging, they're going to be in the hunt. The Yankees are good. Baltimore is good. We have a good team. I mean, look at us right now. We're like that, and nobody has played well. But I think it's because, first of all, the balance in the American League is really good. You look around, even the White Sox, I know people talk about them, but their rotation, they have stuff, their bullpen is really good. So it's going to be a dogfight all the way till the end.
Yeah, just again, to follow up on it, like it feels a little bit, especially between now and July, the end of July, you got to kind of fix from within. You mentioned, I think one more rehab start for Bello, you get him back. I think 2 for Giolito, you get him back. The Yankees and Orioles have some really feel like permanent rotation issues. And also, I don't think either has Roman Anthony or Marcelo Meyer, whenever their timeline is, Alex, coming. And soon, I just wonder if you feel like whoever heals from within well might win this, and does that put you in a good position?
Well, I would love to say that, but I think at the end of the day, it's what you do on the field, honestly. And one of the things that people don't realize about the Rays, the pitching and Cal Snyder and the way Cash does things, they play defense. They don't beat themselves. They run the bases well. They don't beat themselves. And when you do that consistently, you run into 85 wins. You do. You actually do. And then you win 5 more and you got 90 and you're in the playoffs. It's not magic. It's actually the way the game has been played forever, especially now with the offense. Offense is, it's a roller coaster, right? You go through stretches that you're banging and then you're not scoring runs. And it's because what happens in the mountains is amazing every single night. I think that's what's going to dictate what happens in this division. Whoever played consistently over the course of 162, and I know that's a cliche, is going to win it. Yes, I get your point. I understand that. But we're getting tested already. Fitz is hurt, right? That was something that we were counting on before the season started. Well, we're getting the 2 guys back, but let's see what happens next.
Well, Alex, it's going to be a really fascinating division. 1 to 5, 5 to 1. I know we'll run into you a lot during the course of the year up in Boston and in the Bronx. But we do appreciate you joining us. We know it's a busy time of year, and we appreciate you joining us on the show with Joel Sherman and Jon Heyman.
No, this is great. And, we can be 10-0 or 0-10. And I promised you guys I was going to be on it. So I was here.
We appreciate it.
Jon and I, of course, thank Alex Cora for joining us on the show. Jon, hit or error?
I'm just a positive guy. I think I'm on a streak of hits. I'm going to give a shout out to the San Francisco Giants. We had Buster Posey on last week. He was a terrific guest, as was Alex Cora. But the Giants look great in spring training. I was hearing all about the vibe. I was only there for a day or two. It's hard to judge the vibe in a day or two, but They weren't kidding about it. They are doing great. I mean, Wilmer Flores looks like a big star. Hayden Birdsong looks like a potential star. I mean, even Chapman's not doing it right now. Some of their stars aren't doing it. Lee looks great. I mean, the 2 home runs, don't want to bring that up against Rodon, but San Francisco Giants are great and are at least playing great, and that division is something else. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out because I think the Diamondbacks are even better than they've shown. The Padres are off to a torrid start, and certainly the Dodgers are better than they've shown. Their run differential is about even. Hard to believe right now, but we know that on paper, at least they are the best team, the world defending champions. But Giants a threat. Maybe 4 teams in that division make the playoffs.
Yeah, I asked Buster Posey about this last week, and he didn't really agree with me, but I do think I made the comparison. I thought when the Yankees played great in the 90s and kind of took their payroll up, it forced particularly the Red Sox. Theo Epstein has said it. Like, you want to keep up in your division. And I think the excellence of the Dodgers has forced the other teams to kind of put more money in the pot and to get star level players because you can't compete with the Dodgers if you don't have great players. And we're seeing those 3 teams, Giants included, have special players. John, I'll do the error. Look, last year the Twins had the playoffs all but wrapped up in mid-August, and they finished 12-27. And what they decided to do was fire a couple of hitting coaches and like sign Harrison Bader. And to me, in a division which I think was getting better. I think Detroit might be the best team in the American League, right? And I think Kansas City was not a fluke last year. I think Kansas City is good. They needed to do more. And to me, the biggest kind of like is insanity repeating the same mistakes is you built your positional group around Correa, Buxton, and Royce Lewis. And these guys are all fragile. And they played 27 games last year where those 3 guys were in the lineup at one time. They're at 0 this year because Lewis got hurt again in spring, and he's not even going to come back until sometime in May. Correa and Buxton are off poorly. They represent about 40% of the payroll, which came down after they won the AL Central. It hasn't gone back up to that highest level. I would think Rocco Baldelli's job, which we wondered about at the end of last season, he's an early guy who you look at. We know Derek Falvey doesn't want to pull that kind of plug on this, but it just feels like the division has started to get a little better, and the Twins have kind of like run it back now for another year, and I don't think it's going to be good enough.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about the Tigers. I mean, Torkelson and Mize look like those #1 overall picks that they are. They were picked #1 overall. I mean, we looked at it as, are these guys not going to do it? They were picked first ahead of everybody, right? And Torkelson's off to a huge start. Mize is doing well, and I agree with you. They look very good. On the Twins, yeah, I mean, their injuries have just killed them. The 3 best players, and those are 3 exceptionally talented players, are, as you say, fragile. I wouldn't, if we're really dissecting this, I probably wouldn't put Correa in the bucket with the other 2 because he's had a big career already, and he's done a lot of good stuff, enough to have, had 3 teams give him contracts that were 9 figures. So I might not put him in there, and but they all have been injured a lot. So that is a dicey situation. And Correa's off to an absolutely miserable start. It's shocking that he's not performing. I mean, it wouldn't be shocking to have somebody hurt on the Twins, but to be performing like this, it is shocking. On Baldelli, I love the guy. I can see why Falvey loves him. He's done some great stuff in the past. Putting him aside, I've kind of believe, and I was a Willie Randolph fan too. I've kind of come to believe, and it's not fair. I get it. I mean, managing at the major league level is very, very difficult. There's a lot on you. I've kind of come to believe that if a team has a quote unquote collapse at the end of a year, you have to change the narrative, right? Unless you've got Bruce Bochy or Francona or somebody like that who's got a long history of winning. I mean, it seems like I've seen this act before. I mean, Randolph, was, I think, a very good manager. I think he should have been given another chance to manage. Look at his overall record. That unfortunate collapse in '07, it kind of bled into the next season. And I'm wondering if it's happening again here with the Twins. It's hard to change that narrative.
Yeah, very, very difficult. And they're down now Pablo Lopez, who's one of their two best starters, who had a hamstring injury. So they're in some level of trouble. Tommy Hogan, our producer, we always thank. He makes things so easy for us. Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, please rate and review us. Go to the New York Post Sports YouTube page, give us a view. We'd love for you to do that. And please continue to stick with us throughout this season on the show with Joel Sherman and Jon Heyman.